The leadership strand seeks to develop leaders within IFtL into their roles and through their roles to have high impact on learners. It's particularly important that that's around the IFtL culture. It's about developing knowledge and understanding, skills and behaviours for leaders, but it's also about how do we contextualise that into our own trust, but actually into our own schools, our own classrooms, our own interactions, to ensure pupil outcomes are affected to the best that we can.
What is it like being a leader in IFtL? In the culture of our values, in our strategic vision, in our actually overall vision. So it's about how are you the leader of geography within IFtL? How are you a head teacher in IFtL? How are you the business manager in IFtL? And remember, everybody in our organisation is a leader of some sort. Our children are leaders. It's about the culture linked to the leadership, rather than just leadership per se.
We've been working hard on our strategic plan on what CPD will look like for IFtL going forward, and think about how we create lifelong learners. So people that are research-based, that are problem solvers, that see things that are not working particularly well within school or could be even better, and they reach out to research, to read, to share, to network, and to grow seeds of ideas that can be contextualised to their schools and be really successful.
Within the IFtL leadership strand, collaboration and debate sits centrally. When we collaborate and we work socially, connected and through communities of practice, we are more effective than we are working on our own. People will have different views, different opinions, but important to use the voice of evidence-led practice and research as part of that debate. Reflection and collaboration takes time, and it's time that I believe is worth investing in for teacher development and therefore for pupil outcome.
Leadership in the culture of IFtL, which is underpinned by the varsity model, is about you as an individual and how you develop and your career pathway in your time at IFtL. So this is all based around the needs of individuals and your growth. There was a massive capacity issue of releasing staff from schools. There was always the issue of you send a member of staff somewhere, you're not really sure what's been said, so how do you follow up on that? There was an inconsistency with how people would embed that into your school. So we've taken all of that information to help to build this project, and there's a real excitement around it.
The varsity is set out on a couple of very key principles, and those principles involve the leadership of learning at all levels of schools. It's also built on a very clear principle of flow theory. And flow theory is when the skills and the knowledge and the behaviours that you have match the challenge of what you're doing every day. And when that happens, you're highly engaged and your well-being is high. One of the difficulties with traditional CPD in a room at particular events is that you may be looking for CPD on something particular today and discover that the event you really needed to go to was last week or isn't for another 6 months. And if we delay that learning, we delay that opportunity for that teacher to stay in flow. So the varsity platform allows us to create short pieces of CPD, bite-sized pieces of things to think about, things to provoke reflection, which will enable teachers to access those at the point that they need them.
We have a shared language and a shared bar of expectations. What route you choose to get to those expectations is your gift, okay? It's your gift to choose your methodology, to choose how you want to teach, to choose what that looks like for your context.
It could be that schools use films from the approach in their staff meetings. And there becomes a community of practice. That's where the collaboration might occur within the staff meeting, within the discussion that happens in that group. A culture of reflection, a culture of reflective practice. And it's really important that that reflective culture builds into our schools and into our interactions with each other, because that's how we can take that new piece of learning right the way through to our fingertips in the decision making that we do in our day-to-day practice.
I think the fact that we have so many head teachers that have come through our system is a credit to the culture. It's a credit to the fact that people want to stay, they want to be a part of IFtL. But I also think it's a credit to how the system has evolved year on year. We don't do the same things as we did last year or the year before. We reflect on it and we think about what do schools need in order to make it better. And I think that's allowed people to move at a pace.
Having a strategic plan will make IFtL a better place for adults and children, because it guides and directs us strategically. It makes us look at the horizon and think about what's coming over the horizon. So it makes us engage with innovative practice from other parts of the country, from other parts of the world. Moving that strategic idea into operational practice is what will actually make the difference. So the ideas won't make a difference, but people learning and growing and developing using those ideas and using the evidence base that's formed those ideas will absolutely make a difference to the children and the adults in IFtL.
Vision is actually the name of our trust, so inspiring the futures of us all through learning together. We always bold of us all and together because I wanted to get across that this is about developing the adults as well as the children, because we can get very focused on what we do for children and how we get them to progress. But a lot of our strategic priorities are also around how we develop the adults so that they can grow as the children grow. And the together bit is we are stronger together, and not one of us are ever on our own.